East Coast, Central, you know, to see how it works out, but my goal is, you know, for ski season to go out to like Europe and ski out there at the Icon Ski Pass.
Okay.
So also out
Are you
here.
here for Nomad?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, come on in, sign in the
Okay.
sheet real quick. We're just doing introductions.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's my next goal is you know, get into Europe a little bit
Okay.
more on the ski front
Right.
this winter, and then yeah, I would love to go to like Bali or Thailand or something like that, but the time zone, I don't know if that's feasible, or
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of people doing that.
Yep.
And
It's very crowded there.
yeah, but I, you know, could see that being a goal. Just need to figure out how that would work.
Right.
But
If it's the goal because you keep hearing that it's cheap, it's the costs are rising just because so many people are moving there, right?
Yeah.
Because the nomad lifestyle Bali is one of those things where it's the dream, so to say, right? But the costs are going up too fast, right? And many times you go over there and you're almost paying $1,200 for a room now, $1,500, whereas it used to be way cheaper.
Yeah.
Right? And it's very crowded there, right? Like when I watch all my friends who are down there, you're on scooters and it's like, good luck, you know?
yeah. I do think the grass is greener on the other side too. Like I could imagine that being an interesting lifestyle. I don't know if I want to do that for like a year or something,
Right,
but
right.
like, you know, maybe a month.
Yep. And depending on how much you watch nomads on social media, right, you have a lot of young people who go there, they post on social media and they show what their life is like, right? They either fly there on a whim because they heard, hey, this is where I'm supposed to start, and you watch the videos, you think it's cool, it's great, and then they realize like, man, this is hard.
Yeah.
And I'm not making any money, and this is just a lifestyle thing, and 3 months have gone by and I gotta go back home, right? And the other stories that I've been reading are people are finding out more about themselves when they travel, and that is, not everybody's an extrovert, right? Like, I'm a social butterfly. I can walk into any room and talk to anybody and not deal with those issues, whereas there's a lot more stories I'm reading where people are going, and they're finding out they're not extroverted.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, rooms with lots of people they don't know, their anxieties go up.
Mm-hmm.
And people are realizing, like, I'm more comfortable when I'm around people I know, which is nice, right? But Nomad is about being with strangers, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, interesting. So, well, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Hey again, Chris. I'm Dave. We spoke on the phone.
Yep. Yep.
Your last solopreneur session was my first time at Capital Factory.
Nice.
And I'm from Austin, but I've been traveling nonstop, almost by accident since I was a young kid. And so, like, that was just baked into me.
Right.
I can't sit still. The reason why I'm in Austin is by the happenstance again. I've accidentally lived in New York.
Right.
So I spent a month in Costa Rica doing a photography program, lived in Barcelona, back here just to visit family, and I just stayed because of remote work.
Of course.
And I've, for my first time, 2019 office job
Right.
at a legacy tech behemoth, I swore I never wanted to be golden handcuffed under
Right.
fluorescent lighting
Right.
for 8 to 9 hours a day every day. And with COVID, a terrible time, but
Right.
with the advent of remote free work, I could hate my job, but I could go do it in Whistler.
Yep.
Or go ski or whatever, and I'm like, I can tolerate the work if it fits
Right.
around my lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And told you last time I was a go-to-marketing strategist for a consultant company, and lost that job, picked up a new startup gig here,
Mm-hmm.
semi-remote, but I'm trying to transition into being able to offer those services under my own umbrella, so
Right.
I can work wherever just the computer is by my own
Nice. Okay.
volition
And it's
my own
doable.
skill set.
Doable today.
It's just getting focused
Yeah.
on getting the pieces in order.
Yeah.
And to your point, I think I am extremely introverted, but
Yeah.
there's something about when you don't have the choice,
Right.
it comes naturally. I went to Columbia solo, didn't realize no one speaks English, still have the time of my life. That brings me to the last point, the travel tip.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to find a local and get them to show you around. You can't do Yelp or top whatever you need an actual local.
Right, of course, yeah.
Seek them out, don't look for the top restaurants.
Right, of course.
Seek out one person.
Absolutely. And also remember, we do have technology now for those who are looking for a crutch still. Apple AirPods now have instant translation.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so now when you talk to somebody, it translates automatically for you. Right?
That's insane. I still have to try that.
So when I mention that in a lot of my classes, I tell people like it's no longer a language barrier for business, right? Even though you can still find locals to work with, you can start working with more people faster, right? So thank you. That's interesting. Yeah. Next.
Hi, my name's Michael. I could be a smart ass and ask you to define from, but I'll just say I'm from here.
Okay.
Most of my traveling has been in Europe, pretty much all over. My home base over there is in Prague.
Nice.
I'm not currently working remote. I've spent most of my career working from home. I spent many years as a freelance translator.
Okay.
That work is mostly either dried up or gone, doesn't pay nearly as much as I need to be making.
Yep.
Currently working for Apple on a limited contract that expires in spring and may or may not be renewed.
Sure.
The work I'm doing there is in localization, but I also have a consulting practice helping independent businesses get into foreign markets. In fact, I'd like to talk to you about that, that go-to-market strategy you mentioned. Let's see, what do I hope to learn tonight? I'm interested in other people's stories and perspectives,
Nice. Okay.
in general. And travel tip, unless you have a really strong reason to need to stay in the Schengen zone over 90 days, do not waste weeks and months chasing the documents you need for a visa.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
The what zone?
The Schengen zone, which
Oh.
is in Europe, that's a number of countries, it's almost but not quite equivalent to the European Union, that have a sort of unified visa regime. Basically, if you don't have a visa, you can, as an American, you can stay there for 90 days out of a rolling 180-day period.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I believe Europe also just instituted now they require biometrics when you pass through.
Yeah, that's new.
Yes, that all came into effect. So that's very interesting that you help people go into foreign markets. You know, that's a very in-demand skill. All right, so with that, I always cover some digital nomad news just because many people are not looking for this. They like to read other kinds of news. So this 24-year-old ditched the US to work in Chile. Now she has a better work-life balance and saves more than $1,200 a month. And you can look these up. 13 Asian cities perfect for digital nomads. A lot of them obviously are Southeast Asia, along the Thailand, Indonesia region, things like that. But the cost of living is still way cheaper. In fact, I just posted an article today about the Midwest, Springfield, Missouri, being the best place for nomads in the US that don't want to go outside. It's the lowest cost of
What did
living.
you say? Springfield, Missouri?
Yeah. And so, yeah, I just posted that today. And they were.
But is it fun though?
That was my next
You're
question.
gonna have to be very creative.
The juice is
There's a
really
reason.
worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
Get what you pay for sometimes.
Yeah. So that's kind of it. Yeah. So this city, that's the city right there. I tried being a digital nomad in Portugal, and it wasn't the dream I expected. So basically, this kind of goes back to what I was saying. This person worked for a Big 4 consulting firm. They thought they could go remote on their own. They went out there, found out they're very introverted. They actually set up everything in advance, like 3 months in advance. They set their Airbnb. They got their co-working passes. They did everything. They get to the co-working. They set up their station, and they're like, I don't know anybody. And then the reality started to set in that, what am I doing here? You know, and the dream of being a nomad started to just kind of fizzle, right? And so instead of going up to somebody and talking to them, she connected with somebody on a Facebook page, and they met up and found out they had nothing in common. So she kind of was starting to feel a little like lost, and she realized, you know, it wasn't what she thought it was, but it was only because of the fact that she was not really an extroverted person, right? Like, I've read so many books on like the fine art of small talk and conversation tips and things like that, that I can walk into any event and pretty much know half the room by the end of the event, right? Many people are not like that, right? So they'll spend the money, they go, and then the dream fizzles, right? So, I quit a promising career as a consultant to travel the world. So she had been traveling with her family since she was a teenager. And so finally she went to school, got her consulting degree, if that's a thing. And she went to work for another consulting firm. She liked it, took the skills she learned. They gave her a year off to go kind of travel. So she did that. She realized, I don't want to go back to a 9 to 5. So she started her own travel agency and she kind of took off on her own. So by the time she was 24, she had a good clientele that started built up. Can you raise your hand?
Oh, I was saying that could be me, quitting career as a consultant to travel the world.
Yeah, so, you know, there's a lot of young people who are traveling now. In fact, I encourage more people who are young, under like 21, to go travel, which they're deathly afraid of, right? But American kids are not taught to travel because they're taught that you need an education first to make money to go travel, right? In fact, there's a YouTube series that just came out that shows that's not true at all, right? So these two guys are just like, we want to go travel the world for free, and we're going to do it, right? We have no money, we're poor, and we're young, and we didn't go to school. And when you watch the series, it's one of the most watched YouTube series right now out there. If you just look up Free World Trip series, you will be hooked on that whole episode. I think it's like 20, 25 episodes they made. And it blew up for them, right? And then living in paradise, but profoundly unhappy, how the digital nomad dream sort of soured. And it was all because she was a photographer. She was a freelance photographer. She went down to South America, tried it out. It wasn't what she was expecting. It was hard to sort of get clients. It wasn't consistent enough, and she kind of started to feel like nothing was happening. She was trying to do social media, which a lot of people do, right? And then they do it for like 2 months, and then they're like, oh, it's not going anywhere, right? It's not how social media works, right? If it was the case, everybody would be millionaires, right? But yes, you know, so if you're doing social media, do it now, so that way in 2 years you have something, right? Otherwise, it's never gonna happen. So I always like to add in a little bit of humor. So if you've ever been in those situations, it's not funny, but it's funny now.
So you're saying like the guy's just kinda.
So he has a job, right? And she's a nomad, right?
Oh, okay.
So this is her version of a nightmare, right?
Oh, yeah.
His version of a nightmare is like falling out of a plane or like, something crashes. Or
Yeah.
her life is like, no, the internet just stopped working, you know? And she's going through a country and like, visa's not working, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
So, yes. Alrighty, so this is my journey with nomading and networking, right? So this is sort of like a typical week for me, right? So you'll kind of notice like my life kind of revolves around going to places, doing things, parties, events, conferences. Most people don't look at life in that sense. They wake up and they're like, I have to go to work, right? That's kind of how most nomads kind of operate, in that sense of, hey, this is what's going on, this is what's happening. Are you here for Nomad?
Yes.
Yes, there's a sign-in sheet right there. Yes.
Yeah.
So any questions about this? Because this is the part that many people don't look at life like.
Is this what you're doing here right now, or this is when you were traveling?
So this is what I do like when I travel. Like any city I land in, I know where to go, what rooms to be in, who to talk to, where's free food, right? I always cover all my bases, right? It doesn't matter where I'm at, I know where to find all my things. And chances are I walk into a room, I'm probably gonna know at least a quarter of the people in the room, right? That's how you know your network is pretty strong. If you can get to half the room, you're doing better, right? So imagine doing that on a global scale, right? So any other questions about this? Yes?
I may have missed your introduction since I came in a little late, but does this relate to how you make a living while you're on the road?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a consultant, right? So I build remote teams, I build out, workflows for people. Again, most people are not searching that. They're not looking for it, they're not typing that in. In fact, I'm pretty sure most here would be very surprised to find out most people are not even searching for AI training. You know why? Anybody want to take a guess? You're already using it, so why would you search for it? Right? Most people use it thinking, I'm a genius. This is great. This marketing plan is fantastic. I don't need to get trained. So I go here because this is who I'm looking for at these events. Right? I talk to a lot of people. I meet a lot of individuals. They tell me their stories. Right? So here's something that you're probably going to be very surprised to hear about. So here at Capital Factory a while ago, I would meet developers that would work out of here, and they would fly to San Francisco, and they would go to very exclusive parties, and they would go to those exclusive parties looking for people who were trying to build apps when it was hard to build apps at the time, right? And they would listen to their stories. I'm trying to build this app. Yeah, I can build that for you. I can get you an MVP in 3 months. Can you write this number on a check? Right? And they'd come back with 6, 7 contracts, all 6 figures, right? That was their life. That's how they did things, right? It's no different from what I do, right? The only thing is, those people know how to find those exclusive events, because that's where the money is. Otherwise, if you're going to an event and nobody has money, you're just eating food. You know? So, that's why I asked you, what did you notice about that schedule? Because most people don't plan their life around events. Most people plan their life around work, right? So this is kind of how you have to think as a nomad when you network, when you travel, is where do I need to be, right? Who should I be looking to talk to? And what value is it going to bring me, right? So if you can walk into any room and you know at least a good amount of people, why is that a benefit?
So they can introduce you to the other people.
There you go. That's what you want. Because now you have another connection, right? What is it called? 6 degrees of separation, right? So if that one person in the room that you know, hey, who in this room should I talk to, right? Now all of a sudden you have another connection, and it builds from there. Go grab some food, grab some drinks, talk to some people, right? Food is a social lubricant. So as you start to build your network around that, you start to realize, where are the rooms I really need to be in, and how do I get in those doors, right? Most people don't think about that. Like, we all have access to general events, but the events you really want to get to are the ones that are not advertised and they're invite only, right? Any questions about that? Do you know what city you're living in?
Off.
Why do I say that?
My mind went to somewhere that's social media leverage to get to these events.
Okay. But why did I mention Austin? What is it about Austin that?
Entrepreneurial.
Okay, yes, but what else? Austin has a lot of millionaires, right? A large concentration of millionaires. And on top of that, what does Austin also have? A lot of YouTubers, right? And they throw parties, they throw events, right? If you've ever seen these special dinner events that have become really popular, you'll notice that when you try to apply, it's all invite only, right? You can fill out your form, you're probably not going to get in, right? And yet Austin has a lot of them, and most people don't pay attention to that. And if you want to elevate yourself, get into one of those events, right? The dinner parties is where the stuff happens, right? So who here knows capitalism, the group here? Nobody? Capitalism is a group that has one requirement to get in, and that is your business must generate at least $1 million in annual revenue to qualify to get in. If you get in, what does that mean? Everyone around you is making a minimum of $1 million a year, right? So that weeds out the people who are the dreamers, the people who are like, I want to start a Shopify. Now you are around people who have quality support, right? And that program is a pretty good group of people here. Who here would love to hang out with a whole bunch of people that make a minimum of $1 million a year? Hey, tell me what's your secret? Well, I sell doggy treats. Right? So, kind of what I just covered right there, benefits of global networking, right? Your networks expand, right? Your people are going to tell you like, hey, there's something coming up in 2 months, you need to be here, right? I'll introduce you to this person, you know, make the plans, right? you start to realize perspectives change once you get into a new culture, new city. So what can you do with that? This is the part where my brain goes into overdrive when I go into a new city, right? Because I'm thinking, what business should I build here? Because again, as a nomad, you can build as many businesses as you want and automate them. The trick is automating. Many people mess up on that part. So if I go to, let's say, Indonesia, and I walk into a small town, and I'm like, hey, what do y'all do here? What's going on? And all of a sudden I realize, like, hey, they need this. I'll go talk to a couple people, maybe start a group, see what I can build out of it, right? You can have virtual assistants sort of maintain that for you. And then your career starts to grow, right? It's growing because you're posting on social media, right? Like, hey, I saw you helped with that program over there in South Africa. You think you can come do that for us? Right? You have the proof now. Because what do they say? If you didn't take the pic, it didn't happen. Right? So now that the social proof is there, you want to build an entire school. Hey, show us how to do that. Right? So these are just some quick points that I kind of threw in there. Don't feel overwhelmed by how much is on the screen, but it really starts to expand like your opportunities, because you going around different places means that somebody might be like, hey, can I hire you for 6 months? You know, I have this project coming up. If you're not in that room, that opportunity is never going to come to you. Right? As I always tell people, that 9 to 5 is keeping you away from your dream.
That was the bar.
So, you can find your ideal work location. It might be not what you thought it was, right? There's all kinds of places out there that will probably inspire you into ways that you're like, this is what I should be doing, right? And now that we have AI to do things, you can do even more stuff with it, right? Hey, I'm sitting here, I'm looking at this stuff, I'm in a city, tell me what 5 business ideas I can run. Help me start the one that has the least, expense, and show me what to do, right? Couldn't do that 10 years ago, right? So, and you build partnerships, right, ventures. The best part about networking on a global scale is, guess what? You can now start doing more speaking gigs. Like, hey, you have an event coming up in 6 months, I met you at the event, could you put in a word, can I go speak, right? Sure, yeah, I'm sure nobody here knows about the backup speaker list that goes on, right? There's a whole industry for that, signing up for being a backup speaker. Because how many times have you gone to an event and somebody got sick, or travel arrangements, messed up, or a flight got canceled? They have a list of backup speakers in every local city, right? And you submit to the organizer and say, hey, I'm a backup speaker for these topics, So, foundation, I would always say, is use LinkedIn. Who here trolls through LinkedIn looking for events? Not jobs, events. Nobody. And yet those events are what give you the jobs you're really looking for. Right? Create a Facebook page. Right? Go out there. Who knows Drew Binsky? Go watch his videos. That man literally makes his living on travel. So here's the crazy thing I tell people that don't want to listen to me about social media. When you do what Drew Binsky does, which is just travel everywhere, all day, all the time, what is he actually paying for on his trips?
Not much.
Nothing. Why?
Brand deals and.
Yes, you're close.
They want him there.
They want him there, but what else? It's his job. So what does that mean?
He gets paid.
Right? But everything's a write-off.
Yeah.
Everything is a write-off.
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell that to people, do you think they run home and start social media? No. And yet, that's the easiest way to make a living. If everything is a write-off, why aren't people doing it?
I was just thinking about that for college football. Like, could I write off the tickets to college football, or
as long as it's in your business?
Expense. Yeah.
As long as it's on video, as long as it's there as part of your business expense, that is all a write-off, right? And that's why I tell people do social media, because when you start to do that and you start putting it out there, you start to realize, man, these social media influencers make a lot of money for a reason, right? Because everything is pretty much a write-off.
Yeah.
right? They go to dinner with somebody, they have a meeting, is it on video? It's a write-off. How many times have you watched a podcast and it's inside a Tesla? Why would they do that?
I don't know.
Why would you do that?
The car is a write-off.
Cars are write-off. Because it's your business, right? When you hang out with big social media influencers, they will tell you all kinds of tax breaks. And that is part of it. And that is why you see so many influencers who will go get a $10 million mansion and then shoot all their content in that house.
Content farms, right?
Right? So how many times have you heard of these glow houses, right? Or these influencer houses, right?
Yeah.
Which Jake Paul kind of popularized, right?
Yeah.
Because he knew he could use that as an entire write-off. He could go in there, shoot all the content, make cooking videos, make prank videos, do all kinds of, throw a party, do all these things. That house is a complete write-off. How many people are going to go do social media? Right? Even though the benefit is there. So, leverage analytics. Find out what's working, what's not. You'd be surprised how many people connect Google Analytics to their stuff and figure out what's working, what's not working, right? Google Analytics can be connected to anything. It can be connected to one video, can be connected to a website, Instagram account, whatever, right? Find out what's working. And guess what? If you don't know what to do, who do you ask?
Google Analytics.
AI. Hey, this isn't working, what's going on? Can you find out? Sure. There it is. Right. So the challenges abroad, just like you were saying right there, is time zones, cultural differences, trust building, connection issues. So again, trust reliability, right? It's going to take some time to build that trust, but as you start to branch out more and you start to build that social media following, people start to watch your videos, they realize like, hey, I saw what you did, this is what's going on, you should come do this, right? Who here watches Yes Theory, right? Those guys are well known all over the place. Every time they're in a different place, what happens to them? Fans come up to them, they take their pictures, they shoot a video with them, they have global recognition, right? And the challenge also is like constant movement. I always tell people, like, if you don't want your expenses to be high, just slow travel, right? Cover a region of the world for like 2 to 3 years. You'd be surprised how much your business would take off doing that. If you're trying to be the young jet setter person, your expenses are going to skyrocket, right? But again, there are reasons why the young people who do social media travel all the time because they're going to go shoot content, right? And what makes your content grow faster?
New location.
Yes, but what else?
New experience.
What else? It's the biggest growth driver for social media.
Collaboration.
There you go. Right, you meet up with another person who has, you have 300,000, I have 200,000, we're going to collab, our numbers will go up. Right, you have 100,000, we're going to collab, numbers will go up. Right? So, as much as I said, like, the greetings and phrases will start to kind of like die down a bit now that technology is catching up with that, Google's working on adding, what, 60 more languages to AirPods? And it will eventually get to a point where we don't really think about it anymore, right? So if that is the case, and you know language barriers are going to slowly start to dissipate, how much more business could you start to do, right? And if it is the case, now there are AI tools that can build your business in like 1 hour. I'm here in a new country, I just came across this, I'm talking to some guys, let me build our company real quick. We launch it, everything's ready, hit publish, there it is, right? Having a digital business card in multiple languages, you know, will be a thing, right? Because when I transfer it to you and you speak it German, you will see it in German, I will still see it in English, right? It'll be there, right? We have AI tools now that you do Zoom and all languages are instantly translated, right? So even though you're speaking English, everyone still hears you in their language. So what does that mean now? Who here does online teaching? Who here posts online education courses? Right? If you don't, you're missing out on money, right? What's stopping you from starting your own academy, right? Because now education boundaries have sort of dissipated altogether. You can go on Teachable, build your entire academy, post your courses. Somebody from another part of the world will watch your videos, but in their language, right? And you still make money. So here are some tools for networking. We're kind of familiar with most of them. LinkedIn, obviously, right, if you're looking for professional networks. Facebook, obviously, if you want to find out what's going on around the world. Slack has a lot of private groups, right? They have a lot of digital nomad groups. Some are paid, some are not paid, right? Tons of Facebook groups. Obviously, Discord servers are out there, Telegram channels, WhatsApp groups. You can use Nomad lists for finding events. And of course, conferences. I'm sure most people are not even thinking about Nomad conferences, right? But there's a lot of them. And when you go to these conferences, you meet people who are all working remote. They say, hey, what are you doing? How did you do that? Right? What's your tip? Any comments, questions?
Yeah, I think one thing I'm interested in is, you know, finding the online groups of nomads that travel together.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we're all working remote, we're traveling different things, but you have, you know, that camaraderie built in as well. So
Right.
I've seen some of those orgs, but yeah, I don't know your thoughts on that type of nomading, and if you know any platforms that are good for that.
I mean, Nomad List, which is now nomads.com, right? They have their own private Slack group. In fact, they have every major city listed on the Slack channel, whereas like if I go in and like, hey, I'm gonna be landing in this city, I can message the people in that group.
Yeah.
I'm coming in 3 weeks, anybody kind of wanna help me out? And people will reach out to you, right? And that's part of the whole nomad community. If you reach out to like some of these digital nomad groups on Facebook, hey, I'm gonna be traveling through here, any tips y'all wanna share? You know, any best places I should stay? Discord has a lot of them now, right? Like if you go search Discord for nomad groups, you'll find a lot. Some of them are kind of quiet, some of them are pretty active. But again, the best way to sort of build your own, if you want to sort of be able to monetize that, is post on social media, drive the traffic to your Discord server, right? Hey, I'll be on tonight, I'm gonna be talking to y'all about where I'm at, this is what I'm covering. You'd be surprised how many 19-year-olds have a following of 300,000, 400,000 followers. And they say, hey, you know, I'll be doing a live stream, and if you want to talk to me afterwards, I'll be going on my Discord channel, and we can talk further after that, right? That's how you build that system, right? That's the flywheel. And they make a lot of money, you know. 400,000 followers equals around 6 figures a year, right? Which is pretty decent for a 19-year-old, right?
400,000 on YouTube, on where?
Let's just say it's overall, right? Like if it's just overall, right? But if you do 400,000 on YouTube and you're not doing 6 figures a month, you're not monetizing correctly, right? I've met a lot of people who have 300,000 to 600,000 and they're barely doing 30K a month, right? Which doesn't make any sense, you know, because those numbers tell you like either you're not monetizing correctly or you're not reaching out to enough brand deals, or you're not with an agency, right? If you're not with an agency, it's gonna be a lot harder.
Are you like assuming that these channels are influencer type of channels, or you're just saying any channel should be making that much?
So any channel that's above, let's say 250, right, should be bringing in 6 figures a month.
You think on ads alone, or they have to have some sort of?
So they have to have outside ads, right? Like ads alone will not do it, right? Everything outside that is you either run courses or you're selling templates or you have some type of brand deals that you've set up yourself or the agencies you're working with are helping you find more, right? There's a guy that I follow, he posted like 2 nights ago how he sat in his room and he will email 300 brands. Probably a third of those will say no, the rest of them will say yes. And in that 1 hour that he spent doing that, he probably cleared $9,000, right? But how was he able to do that? He cold emailed all these brands, but there's something else that allowed him to do that.
An AI or something?
No. And this is the part people forget. In order for him to get the deals, he had to back it up with enough followers. Otherwise, you messaging people with 0 subscribers, it's not gonna do anything. But he already had 300,000 subscribers, so he had the analytics to back it up. Right? Otherwise, you're just wasting time. So, an example of some of these are just like if you're in this one Nomad, met a developer at the Nomad Summit who became a long-term collaborator because he went to a conference. Another one joined a co-working program, which led to a client referral from another fellow Nomad, from someone else, right? They attended a tech event, and they had a casual conversation, and that eventually turned into a partnership, right? And just like here at Capital Factory, like you might run into somebody at an event, start a conversation, something might happen from it. They either turn into a client or they turn into a partnership. But that's what you're looking for, right? The more events you go to, the more collaborations happen, the more things take place. So I will kind of highlight some of these, right? So what I've done is I've gone through like some of the big cities. These are some of their big programs for Nomads, right? New York City Tech Meetup, one of the largest monthly gatherings. I get their newsletters every week. And so I know all the tech events going on for New York City every single week. That's another innovation festival right there that goes through digital creatives, startups, entrepreneurs. Digital Nomad NYC Meetup, they're a casual meetup group. They meet up in cafes and co-working spaces around the city, and co-working hubs, right? Reach out to some of these co-working hubs if you ever visit New York City and go, hey, what events are you putting on for the what? You fly in, now you have something to do, right? People like to fly in, and they're like, what do I do? Right. Are you here for, I guess not. And industry conferences. It's New York City. There's no reason you should be bored. There's like 500 events a day that go to, right? It's so crazy how busy it is there. I have friends who go there, and I said, if I lived in New York, my refrigerator would be so full of event food, it'd be ridiculous. Right? I would never go grocery shopping, which I don't even do today, right? Because there's always something going on, right? And if you get really good at this stuff, what starts to happen? You get in for free, right? It doesn't really matter what the cost is. You can figure out how to get into that event for free, right? You might know the event organizer, you might know a friend, somebody might have a promo code, right? If you have enough newsletters coming in from the cities, you know like where to be, where to go, and all the private invites you get. So let's try Seattle, right? So Seattle has another large tech hub, right? And there's a lot going on there every week. And so Tech Social Seattle, right? That's another one. DigiMarcon Seattle, that's a digital marketing conference, right? If you cannot afford any of these things, reach out to them early. Like, hey, do y'all have any discounts for Nomad? Do you have any discounts for this, right? And if you're not sure or nothing's going on, use AI to find a discount code, right? So, okay. But yeah, there's a lot that you can use now to start building out that network and start figuring out where you need to be. And if you're still not sure what events to go to, what's the easiest thing to start looking up? Tech Week. Tech Weeks. Like those are becoming huge, right? There's a Tech Week in almost every major city now. And go through and build a calendar and be like, hey, what's going on for Tech Week for March? I'm free in March, I'm free in July. Let me see what Tech Weeks I need to be at. And most Tech Weeks are free, right? Austin, I think, is like $30 or $40 or something like that. But Denver has like a full week, Tech Week, right? If you want to go to a really nice one, go to the Hamptons, right? Miami has one. It all depends on where do you want to grow your network. And think of it like that. Like, hey, I don't know anybody in Chicago. I'm going to go to Tech Week over there and build my network, right? So Miami, right? Miami has a strong remote digital nomad community over there. Right, so it's right there by the beach, there's a lot of casual meetups. A lot of those communities are connected down to Central America and South America. So there's a lot of interplay between the two. They have a lot of informal cafe meetups, tech startups. Miami is also known as a huge fintech crypto hub, right? So they have a lot of fintech conferences that go on there. In terms of just social stuff, rooftop socials, obviously, creative community gatherings, those are huge over there, right? If you ever gone to South Beach, they have a good amount of networking events.
Yeah, I've been to quite a few down there actually, and tech ones and startup ones. Met a lot of cool people, some like angel investors as well,
Yep.
and then yeah, I was kind of impressed. And they have a huge health and wellness scene too. It's not just partying down there,
Right.
so I was impressed with that.
So what also does Florida have that is pretty lucrative?
No income tax.
Okay, what else? They have a very special zip code. Anybody tell me what that?
305,
What's that?
MIAO, whatever Rick Ross said.
There's a special island there.
Oh,
The name
there's
will-
Star Island. There's
Right.
Fisher Island.
What else?
There's
Well, which one is very highly guarded?
Palm Beach.
Okay,
It was north.
right? But this one's closer to Miami
The Brady one,
Right.
Island Creek or whatever.
or Jupiter Island.
Yeah, Jupiter Island.
Yeah, that one's very exclusive, right? Why is it so exclusive? Who lives there? Mostly billionaires,
Yeah.
right? So the money flows to there quite a bit, right?
Mhm.
Now you're just figuring out, how do I get to those events? How do I get to those parties? That's what you're looking for, right? Because if you wanna do that here in Austin, by all means, like, figure out how to get to those private parties, right? Because there's a lot of millionaires here that throw parties. And if you're not in those selected groups, you're never gonna know they happen,
Mhm.
right? Who's somebody that was a nobody for a while and now she's like big everywhere? That's from Austin. She talks about boring businesses that make a lot of money. She used to go to a lot of like cattle factory events and meetups around town and no, nobody? Cody Sanchez? Wow, she is huge. Yeah, she is big. But yeah, she started off just like everybody, but she focuses on the stuff that nobody likes. Remember, everyone here is a tech bro, right? Everyone here is all about like software and SaaS and like AI building and things like that. It needs to look pretty and neat, right? She's all about the boring stuff that makes you money, right? The vending machines, the laundry mats, the car washes, right?
Yeah.
That's what she focuses on. Like, hey, this is how many businesses I own, this is what it takes to run it, this is what's going on, right? So another spot, obviously, is Chicago, right? There's a lot that goes on over there. Any city that has major like universities, there's a lot of events going on, right? Try to find out what some of those events are part of. And the reason why I say this is because a lot of universities attract major corporations, right? So they bring in industry leaders. People forget that, right? Like the business school here at UT, they have like a weekly coffee meetup, and they invite industry speakers. You can go, it's open to anybody. Do people do that? No. You know why? Because you're not searching for that. That's why. So if you start to kind of add in events into your life and make that a routine, you start to realize like the work is part of that. It comes in waves, right? Any questions so far?
Are you gonna go over finding shelter in these,
Like
City
like
to
you
city.
meet people and
like
a hurricane?
Airbnb? No, Airbnb versus like a hotel versus communal living.
I mean, so I always tell people like if depending on how you travel, right? Like your network will start to support you. Like, hey, come stay with us. We have an extra room for the month, right? versus like, I'm gonna get an Airbnb for 2 months,
Yeah.
right? And it all depends on how your network starts to develop. People who are very well, traveled, they tend to have a lot of friends who are like, hey, my roommate left, I'll give you half off for the rent or something like that, right? You might look at it like that. Some people want to travel by hotel. Don't do that. That's
Yeah.
expensive, right? Travel like a nomad, right? Like either go stay with a friend, go stay with a place that is pretty decent, or if you get very creative, say, hey, can I go shoot content here, and I'll give you half the profits, right? That's where you learn how to be a creative business person, And do you know any other people doing content creation in your city that I can collaborate with? That grows your audience faster than you coming in and just shooting content by yourself, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, go first.
So aside from like WeWork and Impact Hub, the international networks, if you're more interested in independent co-working spaces, there used to be, I knew of at least one that had built up a network of other independent co-working spaces and would basically, if you were a member of one, then you could guest passes.
Yep, that's right.
Is that still a thing?
So I've tried looking them up again, and it used to be called like Global One Pass or something like that, and I don't know what's happened to their network, because like people I've sent over there, they're like, hey, I signed up, but I can't get access to anything, and I'm not sure what's happened since then. I tried contacting them, but it was a great idea, right? Because there's a lot of co-working spaces, but what I'm also learning is there's a lot of co-working spaces that are going under, right?
Yeah, I was friends with the guy who owned one in Prague, but he eventually sold it, and he said he never made any money at it.
Yeah, it's hard just because of the fact that like they're dream factories, right? And you're coming in and you're hoping your idea takes off, right? Maybe a small portion of people who work in co-working spaces are paid for by a company, right? They're there because the company's paying for their membership.
Yeah.
Everyone else is, my business went under because I couldn't sell anything and now I gotta get a job, right? And I meet a lot of those, right? Because they come in, they realize, I'm building, and nobody wants it. Well, did you sell anything? Well, I built it, it should have come, right? And people fall for that. If I build it, they will come.
So as far as actually engaging using co-working spaces, do you recommend then going with one of the big, with a WeWork or?
Like, hey, there's a new one opening up in 2 weeks. The owner from this one is gonna be taking over this one right here, and they're gonna be offering 2 months free. Come try that out, right? You wouldn't know that unless you knew the locals, And that's kind of what I was saying, do your homework before you go into a region and find out what co-working spaces do nomads prefer there, And if you're ever at a like absolute bottom of the barrel loss and not sure what to do, you might go try X. I wouldn't try it, but post your question, and see who responds back, right? That's free. So, but yeah, I mean, there are a lot of nomad groups you can reach out to. Just be like, I'm going to travel through this region. Anybody have recommendations for co-working space? Right?
What's the advantage of a co-working space? I've never been to one.
It's like this.
Oh.
It's literally like just something like this, except this is considered like the luxury of co-working, right? Whereas some co-working spaces are very open, come and go, and others I've met that are just literally like 9 to 4 p.m. and that's the only time they're open, and that's it.
What is it, like a coffee shop without coffee?
Yeah.
Well, they usually have coffee.
Hopefully,
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully,
they
right?
definitely did, yeah.
Like you have a membership here, there's food and drinks in all day long, right?
Okay.
And that's why I say like you have a co-working here and you're just gonna get spoiled real fast, right? You're gonna go somewhere else and you're like, where's the dinner? And
It's easier to make like business connections than it would be in a coffee shop. You can make, maybe if you're an outgoing person, you can make
Yeah.
social connections at a coffee shop, but not so much for the
Okay.
Right.
business network.
You can sometimes get private rooms too, if you have like calls, I've done that, it was like $50 a day, I did that on a beach
Yeah,
trip.
or even places like conference rooms where you can
Okay.
give a presentation.
So they're like kind of designed to network it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
a lot of people, it's like that interaction, and everyone's kind of doing their own thing, but, some people being in calm spaces like this, like
Yeah.
where those guys are doing,
Or
or.
like open to chatting if you want. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, like the nice thing is like you're working and you need a mental break, right? And you run across somebody doing something and you have a conversation. You find out like, oh man, we're doing the same thing, right? And that's part of the interaction, right? There was somebody I met here who we were talking, he passed by, and I struck up a conversation with him and found out he was part of the federal layoff, and he thought he had a career for the rest of his life, and now he's not sure what to do with himself, right? So this was his first time at Capital Factory, and he's like, I sort of got my membership started, and I'm trying to figure out what to do now, right? So I gave him some ideas, and all of a sudden he realized, man, the world is very different now, right? Because when you're in a 9 to 5, what happens to your perspective? It's very focused on that company, right? So you forget the whole world is still going on, you know? So when you come out of a 9 to 5, you're just like, shit, there's flying cars now. This is crazy, you know? And I warn people really, like 9 to 5s, if you're fired, your network is gone, right? But as a nomad, you build your own network and it's organic, you know?
Yeah, and before we move on to the next thing, I have something to share about, you know, lodging. So one thing I'm looking at is dog and cat sitting. So they have these websites like one on right now, it's called trustedhousesitters.com. And on there, I mean, I'm seeing like Gold Coast, Australia, you know, all these different places. You can put a map and you select any place. And I personally want to do cat sitting because that's like less demanding than dog sitting. I can still like go to the bar, go.
I don't know, cats have a lot of attitude.
I could do that. I can't do that every 4 hours. I gotta go back. It's like that's my main concern.
Yeah,
but
4 hours at the bar.
like I want to be able to ski all day.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
The cat comes in, like, I know where you've been. What is this?
yeah. So that's something I'm really looking into. And then another one, there's this app called landing.com. And they have this, it's like $1,500 for the month, and it's a flat rate, and you can, it's a subscription where you can go pretty much to any of these apartments in any city. You do get the risk of getting bumped out, but they pretty much fill, you know, so it's like short-term rentals, and so if they're not filled, then you can just go. And so I have some friends doing that as well. It's called landing.com.
Like you go, so you discounted rate, like.
Yeah, so it's just a flat rate of that $1,500 for the month, and so yeah, it's pretty much like a subscription service. So it's good for cities that have a lot of those there. Like Miami has a lot, you know, and they're seasonal too. Whereas like if you want to be in like Denver or Salt Lake during ski season, it's going to be harder.
Right.
So. But that's called their standby program.
So you pay like $1,500 a month and you can live anywhere basically?
Yeah, anything that's, so yeah, we'll show like which cities, and there'll be like a waiting list, so you can be like, oh, this is available, or you can get on the waiting list, and then you need to like get on it like ASAP. But I've had one friend like stay in a place for like 2 months, but then he's been at one place where it's like he's gotten kicked in like 3 days because they fill it. So it's more expensive if you say like, I want to be there for a certain amount of time. So it's like guaranteed. But if it's not filled at that time, and they're fully furnished too.
That's cool.
So you can just go in.
It's called Hello Landing.
Yes.
That's the name of the site.
Yeah. And it's their standby program. There's like an initial entry fee, but yeah, landing standby. They call it a Nomad pass.
So if you've ever heard of like house sitter, right, that's another good one.
Okay.
But there's a lot of, you know, people who have basically paid their bills in creative ways. Who here knows about Airbnb experiences?
I just learned today.
Vaguely know about it.
So if you go and stay in Portugal, right, and you have a nice Airbnb, what do you also want to do when you're there? Have a experience, right?
Yeah.
So Airbnb experiences is basically locals who provide an experience to people visiting the city, right?
Oh, I didn't understand that's what it was.
So here in Austin, if you search up Airbnb experiences, you'll find people who will take your Instagram photos for you in the most iconic spots around downtown, right? Because you don't know where the iconic spots are, you're visiting, right? So for $60, you can go with this person who will walk around downtown with you and take all your Instagram photos for you, right? There's another one where you can do ghost tours. There's another one that you can go do yoga at the park. All kinds of stuff, right? And many people, I tell them, like, it doesn't matter what you think people will pay for, like, go provide the experience. There's one that will show you all the local cafes for Austin, and why not, right? If you enjoy coffee and you like to see local spots that are not franchised, that's a cool trip to take, right? The most popular one that made Airbnb experiences sort of stand out was, who here would love to go to Italy and have an experience by an authentic Italian grandmother teach you how to make dinner?
Yeah, of course.
That's pretty cool.
Right? And she charges like $250 a person. And if you've ever been to Italy, you know how big those kitchens are, right? They're tiny. And in her kitchen, you can maybe fit 6 people in, right? But for that experience, you will learn how to make an authentic Italian dinner, and it is always a wait list, right? And I tell people, like, if you're going to do anything like that, go set up a profile, right? You can provide that in any city you're in. So who here knows about free walking tours? You can look that up right now on your computer. For those on the laptop, why is that a huge moneymaker, even though the word is free?
Because you buy the guide, the more detailed guide, perhaps.
Try again.
Get sponsored by the,
Nope.
the places along the route?
Mm-hmm.
No?
You network.
That's right, your network expands, right? Because you can provide walking tours all over. And you put your profile in there, and the people will sign up to have you as their tour guide. You make those relationships. Hey, when you come visit me, I will give you a walking tour. I'm gonna go visit you, right? And your network expands.
That's pretty in-depth networking right there.
Really out of the box.
I mean, this is what I do, right? Like, I'm the guy who has to challenge people's thinking, right? Because you never know who's going to sign up with you. That person could be a VP of their company in their hometown, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're visiting. They've never been here, and they love to take walking tours, right?
Yeah. It's somewhat of a gamble, because like, what if it's like a bunch of people that probably aren't super helpful? I don't know.
Are you looking for walking tours at your age? Right. So you know that your demographic is going to be skewed more
Limited.
towards those who are older, right? More nature bound, right? You're not going to find an 18-year-old who's like, I didn't go to college, so I need a walking tour. Right?
Makes sense, yeah.
But there's a lot of programs out there that are starting to grow like that, right? In fact, there's a travel company that I saw where if you provide your own itinerary of your trip, you can sell it to this company and they will purchase it. And however many times people purchase that itinerary, you get a royalty off of it. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy things going on now, right? And if you're not sure, ask AI, right? Because a lot of times people forget AI can search all kinds of data on the internet that you have no idea exists. We see the internet as websites, right? But AI sees the internet as data, right? You cannot see that data, right? Because it's all just zeros and ones, but AI can, right? So for San Francisco, which is considered the hub of tech, right? I can tell you, if you are part of anything in San Francisco, you will never be short of an event. There's like, what, 20, 30 tech events every night. And they all have good food. Right? You should never be thinking about food. You should always be thinking about what rooms do I need to be in, right? I have been invited to some very interesting talks by very, very prominent, tech leaders over there. But that's only because I network so much, right? Those invites only happen because I'm going to events, right? If you go to an event every so often, you're not on somebody's list for, hey, I need to invite this person. So Los Angeles, right? There's another, there's Obviously VidCon, who here has heard of VidCon or been to VidCon? Anybody want to take a guess what it is?
Complex con. This is YouTube.
Right.
Con.
It's similar, but yeah, VidCon was first started by Josh Green, I believe, and it was about bringing all the YouTubers together in one community and talking about how are they doing it? Like, what are you doing to grow your audience, right? And many people at the time thought YouTube was stupid, right? Because, like, you make videos, like, how is this a job, right? In fact, one of the things I argue with a lot of universities now is they still will not recognize YouTubers as a career, right?
It's the most
Even-
desired career for young kids.
It is. And you know what's crazy is we now have textbooks out there on intro to content creation, and no school district will purchase those textbooks, right? And yet YouTubers now make more than lawyers, doctors, engineers combined,
And professors, I'm sure.
even professors. Right? There was, do you know Carter Scherer? Guys, come on. You need to start boning up on your YouTube history. He was a graduate student at Stanford studying physics, right? And he was working with his professor, and his professor was just like, hey, your grant got approved, we're gonna be working with you on this project. And we're gonna be setting up your lab, getting these things going. And he sits down and he's like, I need to tell you something. I'm gonna be a YouTuber, right? His professor was like, okay, look, you know, I don't know what joke you're trying to pull, but you need to focus on your studies right here. You're gonna finish out your PhD. No, I think I wanna go make videos. I think I can do this, right? And for those on a laptop or your phone or anything like that, look up Carter Scherer on YouTube and look at how he has designed his channel, okay? He was a physics major. He was top of his class, and he said, I'm gonna figure out how this algorithm actually works, and I'm going to crack it. And well, he figured it out. He sat there and he played with it, and he made a video and he tested the analytics. He made another video, tested the analytics. He made another video, he tested the analytics. And if you noticed how the design of his YouTube channel is, let me see if I can bring
Those
it up.
thumbnails and all.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like,
Mr. Beast.
Yeah, oh my god. I usually
I think you need a few more
play
tabs there.
on those type of thumbnails.
Carter Scherer, there it is.
Like
So-
kids will love that.
Yeah. The algorithm.
So what he did was, he sat there and he said, what drives somebody to click on something, right? If you look at the design of his videos now, and we go back a couple of years, right? What do you start to notice about the videos?
The open mouth, like stress.
The older ones are like cartoon graphics.
What else?
No text.
What else? You're missing the most important part.
They're busy.
What else? It's neon colors.
Yeah, the shirt's always
Right.
very neon.
Everything is neon and the colors are enhanced,
Mhm.
right? Because who's gonna click on this?
Kids.
Right. Kids are visually prone to anything that's very colorful and over enhanced, right? So when you look at his videos and how they're designed, he sat there and basically went through all this stuff, figuring out how does the algorithm actually work. And it all came down to thumbnail. Just like Mr. Beast, right? What does Mr. Beast say about how he does his thumbnails? He goes through how many? 500. He goes through 500 thumbnails before he picks the
Really?
one that he's going to use. Right? But if you notice his numbers, he now makes millions and millions of dollars a year. He owns almost 4 or 5 mansions. He has a ridiculous amount of cars. Right?
All write-offs.
All write-offs, right? Because every mansion he purchased, he made sure to shoot all his content around his house, right? And that's what he did. He just sat there and he just played with it for the longest time. And so now he taught his brothers, and now his other brothers also make content creation together, and they too do collaborations with a lot of people, right? But again, it was a science that he understood. Because he figured, if I'm good at physics, and I can do hard math, I should be able to crack this algorithm. And he did, right? Even though his numbers aren't what they used to be, right? Remember, he's a millionaire. It doesn't matter. And the thing that people forget is, if we go back, let's say we go to, this video right here, 1.1 million, right? 5.9 million, 3 million right here, right? 3.5. What are those videos still doing today? They're still sending him paychecks. And people forget that about YouTube, is there are videos out there that were made 7, 9 years ago, and there are people still receiving paychecks for them. That's just how it works, you know?
It's like Luke and the Outdoor Boys.
Yeah.
He does like 17 mil.
Right.
I'm sure that's a nice check.
So, as much as I harp on social media, like it's still like I still have to beat a dead horse with people because they will just not do it. Even though you have 19-year-olds, 15-year-olds now who make millions and millions of dollars. If you look at another guy, there it is. He came from poverty, and
Oh,
he worked his ass off to get here. And basically what he did was he became a millionaire before he was 18, and he just sat down and just watched video after video after video of dropshipping, right? And what he did was, if you notice in the beginning, he's just showing you what he's learning from dropshipping, right? Now there's a lot of videos he's taken out since then, but if you start to notice, he did something that a lot of people were starting to get on a trend, was the 48-hour dropshipping challenge. How to go from nothing to 10,000 in 48 hours, right? And guess what he did? He dropped courses, right? Hey, you're doing this, how do I do it, right? And I always tell young guys, especially, go learn dropshipping. I don't care if you make money doing it, the process to learn dropshipping is not easy, right? Logistics, finding items, designing the store, running your ads, SEO, that's not easy stuff to learn, right? But he sat there and he did all that stuff. And because he learned and did all those things, guess what? He bought his dream house when he was 18. You know? But his videos still make him a lot of money. So his last one was, I locked myself in a room until I built a $350,000 a month business. That was 3 weeks ago. So why is that popular? Here's why.
it's a trend.
It's a trend. These young guys are doing this on purpose, and they're filming themselves until they make either $1 million or 6 figures. Alright?
And they probably never do it.
And because of that, you have guys who are just hitting numbers, right? Because what is the rule in YouTube? In order to do what, you need what? You need to be able to monetize on YouTube. How do you do that?
Subscribers.
You need the subscribers, but you also need view count. What is the view count to unlock your monetization tools?
I don't know that.
It's 100,000.
100,000 views?
Yes, you need 100,000 views to unlock more features. Right, once you get past that, now what do you need? You need a certain number of subscribers to unlock more features, right? What are you trying to get to in YouTube?
A million?
No. Live stream. You need to get to live stream. Why? Because now I know when you're on live stream, it's actually you talking. And I have that time with you, and I can message you, and I can talk to you and do all those things, right? Now I can run a store, right? I can purchase my merch items, I can do all these things, and I can do that anywhere in the world. Right?
What's your opinion on like other social medias, like, I don't know, Instagram, TikTok? Like,
Do them all. Do them
yeah.
all.
I didn't know, like, you brought up YouTube, I didn't know if you thought there was something
The only reason why YouTube I bring up is because YouTube is number 2 in terms of the most visited site in the world, right? Everyone you meet watches YouTube. And it doesn't matter their age, they all watch YouTube, right? It's the most accessible thing out there, right? TikTok, talk to somebody who's 65, you're probably not gonna hear TikTok in their house, right? And yet if you're 65 and you're on TikTok, guess what's gonna happen to your numbers? They're gonna shoot up.
Are you not of the mind of at least initially locking into 1 or 2 to like build your foundation versus spreading too thin.
So, what is the best algorithm out there to grow your audience?
TikTok.
Okay. So if you have TikTok, right?
I guess if it's all video based, it can be the same across.
Yeah, you're just like
Post,
pumped
same post across every.
Where do you want this audience to go?
everywhere.
You want to go to YouTube next.
Why?
Because you need to build your following here, and it's a lot harder. The algorithm is going to fight you versus this. Why is it going to fight you? What is the business model on YouTube?
YouTube mostly pushes creators that already have a large following, as opposed
Yes,
to
yes, but you can easily gain a million hits on video. You just have to do what? It has to provide value, right? Remember, this is a Google product. Everything is money to them, right? If you are not bringing eyeballs to a video, that algorithm doesn't care who you are. TikTok is very different. It can identify your interests right away, and it can bring your audience to you immediately. It may be 2 months, it may be a year before YouTube's algorithm says, we know who your audience is, right? So you want to run it here first, so you can get that algorithm going. Because what does it also look for? What is this known as?
searches.
Right, searches,
Yeah.
but what is this called? This is a backlink, right? Because in your description here, it's linking to your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
The more backlinks you have, the more that algorithm pays attention to you. So from there, you can run to what? Now you can go to Instagram, now you can go to whatever, right?
That makes sense.
So for Tokyo, we have these right here. I'm gonna kind of jump ahead. How's my time right now? 7:31. Okay. We'll go to Bangkok. Most people don't really pay attention, but Bangkok is also one of the easiest places to be a nomad. It's also the cheapest and the fastest place you can launch a business. So you can probably set everything up in like an hour there.
What do you mean by that? Like,
If you decide to register your business there, the process is like super easy, right? If you want to do that, right? Most people who are social media people or influencers, everything's based in the US, right? But for those who set up businesses all around the world, Bangkok has one of the easiest ways to do that. So.
Have you heard of network school before? I think it's in some Asian country, but it's like a bunch of digital nomads get together. I don't know for how long, like a month or something, and they have like gyms, they have like healthy food, and people like trying to start businesses and stuff. I was just gonna see what your thoughts on it.
I mean, there's a lot of programs like that already, and I'm not surprised that they're doing that there, but there's a lot of nomads who are very entrepreneurship focused, right? The group that I pay attention to most is like the 15 to like 21 year range, because they're building and scaling super fast with AI, and all they're doing is just launching immediately, right? Because their goal is to scale to 6 figures as fast as possible, right? And that's why you have the 48-hour challenge videos that show that, right? So, do you ever read Indie Hackers? So, Indie Hackers is one of these sites where like you can go here and yeah, basically if you ever want to find out who's building what fast, go here, right? I built an AI that makes you think instead of giving you answers. Why are SaaS prices often so high, right? I built to stop SaaS ideas from stalling before they launch, right? From failed SaaS to 14K monthly revenue, recurring revenue, software-enabled service. It's literally nothing but young guys just showing like how they scale super fast, right?
I've seen the word hackers get thrown around now. They don't literally mean they're hacking something. Does that just
So
mean?
they're hacking how you start a business,
Oh, I see. I got you.
right? Like I'm not going to sit here and ask for money. I'm going to build something that makes me money,
Got you.
right? And if you go, I think it'll let me. Yeah, if you go here, like from employer to freelancer to 10K monthly founder, growing a tool to 1.2 registered users with almost 0 marketing. I will let you know, these little green like check marks or these little stars, you have to pay to read the articles. If you don't want to do that, just check the site every day and read them for free when they come out, right? That's a very good marketing strategy because it keeps a sticky effect, right? So you're always checking the site. But again, this is why I tell people, like, you have that 17-year-old who right now is probably building like 50 companies, and they're just looking for ones that make 6 figures. They could care less about the ones that are making 5 figures. They're only concerned about 6 figures, right? And what are they doing with them?
Scaling.
And then what?
Selling.
Yes,
Exhibiting.
right, because what's more important to have on your resume, on your LinkedIn profile?
The exit numbers.
Um,
Amount of exits.
it's the amount of exits. Sorry. So I'm going to show you a little video. There we go. Is this not? Why is this not playing? I hope there's sound, because this would be terrible. It's all the way.
It's all good.
Yeah, okay, anyways, basically, what he did was, he made 6 figures on categories that everybody watched, which is news, celebrity news, and he automated the system. He pushes out 10 videos a day. He has a team of people that manage each different channel, right? And he looks at wide categories to post for, right? News is something we all watch, right? So he finds the most viral news, puts it into a package, and then he organizes it and then posts it, right? He has it on the schedule. So because of that, he's able to make 6 figures a month doing those things, right? I was hoping to show you the video, but yeah. The reason why I say that is because there's a lot of these guys out there right now who are sitting down with AI and they're building and building and building super fast, right? And the most lucrative thing to have on your LinkedIn is not, I went to Stanford, I did this. It's, I have 7 exits under my belt, all 7 figures, right? Because what does that get you?
Credibility.
Credibility to go to what? This is the part people don't even understand. What does that get you into? What door does that open?
Start a business with someone else.
Investors.
You're close. It gets you an offer to work at a VC firm. And that's what finance majors want, and they cannot get it. Right? Who cares you have straight A's? That kid over there sold 7 companies, all 7 figures each. I want him in my firm. Right? He knows how to find businesses that make money. He's gonna make the money. Right? That's what they want. So, this is the other one that I will show you. Brett Olowski app. Where is it? He interviews these guys that are really young. Yeah, there it is. Like that one right there, 19-year-old making millions with his notebook AI app, 17-year-old who built a $1.12 million a month app. But the other one that he did was, I hope I can find it. Should be around here. Oh, there it is. Basically, he just shows you that you don't need to know how to code to build an app. He just sat down with ChatGPT and asked it, how do I build an app, right? And he just iterated until it fixed everything that he needed. Because he knew in his mind what the app should have looked like and what it should do. And he just worked with it. Now, to give you perspective, this is over a year ago, so that would put you at around like ChatGPT 4, right? We're now at 5, and then we're probably gonna have 6 within the next year or so, right? But he basically took that, built it out, and he now runs 7 different mobile apps that all produce 7 figures each, right, today. And each app has a team of developers underneath each one, so. I'm just showing you these kind of things just because, like, I meet a lot of people who are very skeptical of this stuff, and yet Brett Malowski looks for these guys who are super young, and they're just building and building, and they're scaling super fast, right?
Oh, is he like he interviews a lot of different people?
Yes.
Okay.
But the thing is, he also came from their world. He sat down and he busted his ass to build his channel to get there, right? So his channel, he has 500,000 followers, but he makes 6 figures a month, right? Because of how much he's been able to build so many different income streams. So. Where is it? Okay, yeah, so actionable strategies for like local networking. I would just say like plan ahead, leverage online communities, start joining these groups, right? Like get out there, get on the Nomad list forums, go to the LinkedIn groups, find the Slack channels, look for Discord groups, and balance like digital networking with in-person and virtual. Like there's a lot of virtual stuff out there, go check it out, you know? And whenever you're not sure, use AI, you know? And follow up quickly, right? Like these networks around the world are kind of a little more like fragile, so you do need to follow up more with them. Hey, how's it going in, you know, Brazil? What's going on over there? Anything I should know about, right? And diversify your network. Mix it between creatives versus the developers versus the business versus the finance, right? You'd be surprised how many times people ask me like, why do you hang out with so many like artists and theater people and all this stuff? I was like, because their ideas is what makes the developers have a job. And people forget that, right? Like how many times have you watched a movie and you're just like, I'm gonna build that. Well, who made the idea? It came from the writer, right? So. And just some things before shaking that first hand. I always have a very interesting story about this one is stories matter, right? Who here knows Shia LaBeouf?
Not personally.
Okay. Why is he in so many movies?
He just seems like a regular dude.
That's right. But you know, there was an article I read about him about how he got his first jobs for film, right? Because remember, he was a kid actor who did a silly comedy show, right? Even Stevens, right? There was this story that he has memorized tons of stories. So when he's on set, he shares all these interesting things that he knows. And many of the casting directors and directors say that when he's on set, people just love listening to him talk. They just think it's so interesting, right? He just shares so much value. That's what you should also understand, right? Like I read a lot of news, so no matter what room I'm in, I always have something to talk about with somebody, right? It's creating stories. And have a strategy, you know? You meet somebody, have a meetup, you know? Coffee, a dinner, something like that. Or like, hey, I know you're interested in this. There's an event next week you should go to, right? Provide value. And when you're just starting off, I know it can be a little hard to network around the world. Pick a city, right, that you've never been to, go find some events, see what you can do, right? So I always say like AI is your global compass now, and use it, right? You'd be surprised how fast AI can pick up on things, and it can find new events. Like, hey, I'm going to Houston next week. Give me 3 events that are in this area that I want to go to, right? And they can pull together and give you a list.
Do you have a favorite AI?
Perplexity is probably the better one to be able to pull stuff from,
Okay.
right? Like you can go to Perplexity and ask it like, hey, I'm going to be visiting here for 4 days. I'm looking for these type of events. Can you help me find this for the mornings, right?
You're saying it's good for internet searches?
Mm-hmm. Right. And if you have a paid account, it can find a lot more reliable data.
So you recommend the paid account? I've actually been looking at that right now. Do I really want to drop another, you know,
Well,
I know it's only $20 a month, but I've got
Yeah.
a bunch of accounts that are $20 a month, you know what I mean?
Since you have not been in my other class that I teach, they have all announced they're raising their prices soon, right?
Oh, okay, so get in now.
So, well, no, they're all gonna go up.
Well, if I lock it in for a year, don't they have a year?
Maybe. I don't think they do.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought they did.
I'm not sure, cause a lot of my paid tools I don't pay for. But Replit recently upped all their pricing, and it made a lot of people mad, right? And OpenAI has already announced they're going to be raising their prices soon. And I always tell people, like, you know, in 5 years, every AI tool will be over $1,000, right? I don't know how people are going to afford that, because Replit in itself right now went from like $200 a month to like one guy got a bill for $6,000 because he burned through so many tokens. Right? That's just Replit, right? Cursor is even worse, you know. And I think the pro account is going to go to $500 or $600 a month. Manus has been at 500 already for the longest time, right? And unless you use AI at that level, which most people don't, right? $500 is not something most people can afford.
I've never heard of Manus.
Manus is a very sophisticated AI system that can probably do a lot more than what Perplexity does, but it's not free, right? And there's a reason why it's not free, because it's just so robust at what it does. I had it when it first came out, which was wonderful to use. I loved it because it was all free. And then they realized, shit, this is expensive stuff. Like, it burns through a lot of tokens fast. And so I would say just start to pick what tools you want to use, because if you haven't noticed already, most AI tools out there are all behind paywalls, right? And there's around 1,000 or 2 that hit the market every week, and none of them are free, you know? So. I would say if you want, there are some AI tools from Nomads out there, so they can act as your travel guide. Like, hey, I'm going to be covering these cities in the next 3 months. Can you put together an itinerary for me for events, right? Or for housing or lodging or food and things like that. Explore Nomad community guides. There's one, Explore with Laura. You can probably join that one. Join AI-powered co-working networks, right? Discover digital nomad villages. There's a lot that are coming up, right? And if you want to be on the cusp of that, I would definitely say build your own, right? Start your own community and learn how to monetize it. Because again, nomad lifestyle, as much as you see this room is just so full of people right now, more and more people are going to be going remote, whether they want to or not, right? So with that, it's connect with communities that you want to be a part of. If you know you're going to be covering it, have it go do a search for you, right? If you have not learned how to build an AI agent now, do it now. Learn how to do that, because that's a super important skill to know. And have it send you stuff every Friday morning, right? Or have it send you stuff every morning, 9 a.m. Right? That agent can go and pull stuff while you're sleeping. It can do all kinds of things for you. And it can predict emerging hotspots as well, right? It can be like, hey, there's a whole bunch of stuff that people are talking about in different groups. I think you should go check this out in 3 months, right? And it can monitor that stuff, right? You cannot be everywhere, right? You have no idea like what conversations are going on Reddit, what's happening over here on Facebook, but AI can.
Where do you build a agent? What do you mean by that?
Do you have access to OpenAI store?
I've never used the store before.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Okay. So the store is basically just made up of all these like agents, right? And they all have different use cases, right? One's for marketing, one's for finance, one's for legal. And you can go in and sort of build one that's, let's say, a travel assistant, right? And as you build it, you can be like, hey, I want you to train on this information for this data. And every time I ask a question, it's only geared towards that industry. And then that's it, right?
Cool.
So it's cool, but the power comes in being able to connect that agent to another agent so they can talk. That's the part people mess up on, right? Is creating agentic workflows. Because if I can connect my AI travel agent to my marketing person who can create my content, then they can all work together and produce my content for me, right? So. How am I doing? Okay. So that's sort of the presentation. How I work with people is I basically help people build remote teams, right? I help you find what you're looking for. A lot of times people think of remote assistants as just somebody who's going to build your website for you, but people forget like your virtual assistant can go find you work. They can go find new communities. They can go find new jobs. They can build all your stuff that you just don't have time for, right? And that's what I help people do.
In this slide, when you say virtual assistant, are you talking about an AI or are you talking about a human assistant?
A human
Okay.
who will use AI to help do their job better, right? A lot of times people forget like having an assistant isn't gonna break the bank, but it will change your life, right? Because who here runs a newsletter right now? How much does a newsletter create on average for 1,000 followers? If you know the answer.
We probably have one if we knew the answer.
So the average return for 1,000 followers is 80K a year. And most people don't realize that. Any idea how you get to that number? So if I have 3 ad slots on my newsletter, right? And I charge anywhere between 500 and 1,000 for an ad slot. And I run my newsletter weekly, right? And I rotate my advertisers out every week. How much am I making a week? 1,500 times 4, 6,000, right? Times 12. People forget how easy it is to sort of scale newsletters.
When you say newsletter, do you mean like sending emails to people or like?
You have a newsletter every day in your inbox. Everyone gets a newsletter, right? It doesn't matter what it's in, what industry it's in. It just matters, are you growing your newsletter, right? So if I have a newsletter for car meetups in Austin, who is going to be on my newsletter paying me?
Car companies?
What kind of car companies?
Tesla.
Are you going to get an ad slot from Tesla?
No, I don't know any other ones in Austin.
Like car accessories?
There you go, right, car parts, right? Car mechanics, things like that. Those are the people that will pay to be on your newsletter, right? So if I scale my newsletter to 2,000 followers, 3,000 followers, right, now my audience is bigger, I can charge more for ads, right? But is that the only revenue stream I'm gonna make from that newsletter? No. I'm gonna sell all kinds of stuff on there, right? That is related to car meetups. Right? If there's a new guy coming in, it's like, hey, we run a car meetup, but we've never been in Austin before, can we be on your newsletter? Sure, you know, it's this much, right?
How do you even like spread a newsletter? I'm sorry, this might be a basic
Sure,
question.
absolutely, right? Where are the people who want to be on that newsletter gonna be at?
These events, these
At the
speakers.
car meetups. So you're gonna go to car meetups and you're going to have a QR code and you're gonna tell people, I run a newsletter that tells you where all your car meetups are in Austin. Are you running the newsletter? That's who's running your newsletter, right? And they're organizing it, they're putting it in your newsletter and they're sending it out, right? So every time there's a mention on a Facebook group or there's an X post about this, your virtual assistant has organized it, put it into your newsletter, and you're growing your newsletter.
How much does a virtual assistant cost typically?
Their rates average between $3 and $6 an hour, right? And yet people think they're super expensive, right? How many newsletters are you allowed to have?
Infinity.
Exactly. And yet, how many do y'all have?
0.
Right. And so if you look at it in the sense of like, if I go and, where is it? Beehive is a Austin company, by the way. The only reason why I mention these is because what they do that Substack does not is when you're growing your newsletter, they will bring you the advertisers for you. And they will say, hey, these advertisers want to be on your newsletter. Do you want to accept that, right? And if you say yes, then that means they will pay you money. You have on your template for your newsletter the spots they will go in. And if you have a featured sponsored post, which is more money, right? Then they will negotiate the deals for you. Any idea why that's different from Substack? Because I'll go into the pricing.
Wait, isn't this Gumroad?
This is Beehive.
Oh, it looks very similar.
Yeah, I know. Here, how much is it free? Up to what? It's 2,500 followers, right?
Wait, I'm sorry, what does this website do?
This is your newsletter platform,
Okay.
right? This is where you manage your newsletter, right? If I go to Substack, I can still run a newsletter on Substack too, right? But how much do they charge for their free tier? It's free. Up to how many?
1,000.
Unlimited.
Oh, it's
So you're probably wondering, why don't I just go to Substack? They don't have a marketplace for advertisers. You want an advertiser on your newsletter, you're gonna do the work yourself.
This gets you paid quicker, I suppose.
Right. They bring all the advertisers to you, they do all the work for you. Right, so after 2,500 subscribers, you have more features, you're gonna pay. Right, but at that point, you should already be making money, right? Because what's the return for 1,000 followers?
80K.
80K a year, right? So at that point, yes, you should be able to afford that. With Substack, it's unlimited, right? So at that point, you either do all the work yourself or you gotta start charging, right? So, any questions?
That assumes that each person from the newsletter spends $80 each year.
No. It's a free newsletter. Remember
Well,
that.
yeah, but they're buying, well, somehow you're getting $80,000 a year from that ads that you run on there, right?
No, they're gonna pay you directly. They don't care if they get clicks or not, right? You're still getting paid, right? If you wanna sell courses, if you wanna sell templates, that's just more money for you, right?
Mhm.
But you get paid directly whether that person who's reading your newsletter buys or not. That's just it, right? That's just how advertising works.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like, in order for them to pay you that much money, they would need to at least get that much in revenue, right?
They're just looking at, are you growing? If they look at your metrics and they see that you're only bringing in 10 people a week, are they gonna advertise your newsletter? No. Right, so your job is to grow your newsletter. Right, so you having a virtual assistant that grows your newsletters for you, and if you know you can have unlimited newsletters, what else can you run? Right, a newsletter for sports, right? A newsletter for the weather, right? A newsletter for traffic, right? A newsletter for places to eat when you're going on a date. You'd be surprised what kind of newsletters are out there, right? And newsletters that make a lot of money. There's a newsletter that does data science. What they do is they grab raw data and they turn it into stories, right? And those stories get turned into articles on the newsletter and it goes out $15 a pop. They have 50,000 subscribers. Anybody want to do the math? How much they make a month? $750. Most people will be very happy with that kind of money. Right? But they have a staff, right? So they have 6 data scientists, they have 6 writers, they have a project manager, but they're still making 6 figures a month.
Are those all open tabs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about my tabs. I'm famous for them.
They're insane.
So yeah, but I have good browsers, right? I don't use standard browsers.
Workspaces.
So yeah, these are my book recommendations, right, for Nomad, because like a lot of people don't realize like there's some really good books out there that are just phenomenal to read. If you've never read the 4-Hour Workweek, go home and study that tonight. If you have a library card, it's free. Just download it, read the book, or listen to the audiobook. He lives here in town, you know. Vagabonding, basically the art of long-term world travel, right? Most people don't look at travel as long-term, like constant. Americans are taught go out for 2 weeks, come back, right? Remote, if you've never heard of that book, go read it. It's really interesting, right? How remote work started to come about. They're the founders of Basecamp, if you've ever used project management tools, right? Practical guides, you know, Digital Nomad Handbook, Digital Nomad for Dummies, Digital Nomad Survival Guide. And then there's the Nomad Land, right? The beach, there's the Paradise chapter, Business, Nomad Capitalist, and Budget Travelers. Nomad Capitalist, if you don't know who he is, he basically shows you how to reduce your tax burden all around the world, right? Using visa arbitrage, and also how to basically skirt tax requirements around the world. It's really interesting how he does it. So. In the beginning, you should have seen the LinkedIn page for this program. If you wanna follow more stories, you can scan that, follow the page. I post pretty regularly, just so you can see like what people are doing as a nomad around the world and get ideas from, you know. Oh, did it work? Okay. And if you have any questions, that's my link to schedule time. Just so I know we went through a lot. Some of it we didn't cover all the cities, but a lot of times people come in and they have more questions. Right? So that's up there. Next week is the solopreneur stuff, right? So that will be on this book right here. If you've never read this book, yes, it's real. And these are real stories. You did?
Yeah.
Is it good?
It just got delivered.
Okay, yeah. So this is the class I teach next Monday, right? So everything is based off of that, except I updated with AI, so,
Nice.
yeah.
Do you teach every Monday?
I teach every third and fourth Monday.
Nice.
And I would appreciate it, any feedback you have on this class would be amazing.
I'm unfortunately out of town next week. I'm
Okay.
looking forward to that.
Okay.
Solopreneur one again.
Yeah.
Wait, the book is called The $1 Million What?
So it's the $1 Million one-person business.
One person business. Okay.
Yeah. So she actually, because it was so popular, she wrote a second one, which is Tiny Business, Big Profits. And that one is also really good to read, right? Because she has written for so many business magazines, and she wanted to know who are the solopreneurs, what are they doing, right? So,
Nice.
and that's my LinkedIn if you want to connect there personally. And I do have these other ones right here, which is click, how to make people actually click on your stuff and selling online, right? A lot of people like there's so many tools out there to sell online, and many people don't use them. Like when you mentioned Gumroad, right? Like that's a quick site to like set up your business. But if you've never learned Shopify, just go learn Shopify. Like I can't stress that enough because you can do so much with Shopify, you know.
Are you saying that because it's lucrative, or are you saying that because it's a good learning experience?
It's probably the most important skill to have.
But you don't think it'll be financially successful?
I don't know, are you good at selling?
I don't know yet.
Like just being able to have the technical skill, right? Because I mean many people here are like, I learned to be a developer and I'm a coder and I can do this and I can do that. Great, can you sell your product? Oh, that's not what I do. Like, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know?
How's their support for international payments and shipping?
It's very good. Like it's really good. So they manage that pretty well. And as long as you have your documentation in order and you have a good CPA to work with, then that relationship is solid, right? But yeah. But yeah, I would definitely say check those out. Do you have any other questions about resources? Anything outside of that?
I was just curious at the beginning, you said you read up on being the best networker. Did you have to is that natural to you? Did you build that muscle? Cause the frequency that you do these things, my social battery would drain. I could see I get excited about a couple, but all day, every day, that's crazy social stamina.
So because I'm so used to like talking to people all the time, to me it's just like a normal work day, right?
So
Like
you
I
got
wake
the
up,
reps in.
right? Like I go in and I'm just like, okay, it's a breakfast event. I know what people's moods are, right? So I know how to start conversations, right? It's lunchtime. People's batteries are slowly going through. For the ones who are just starting their day, right? To me, it's such a routine that like I have like 1,000 different opening lines that I know how to start conversations.
My question was was it a natural born thing? You were.
I was a kid actor, so
Okay.
I was always on stage. I was always
That helps.
performing, and memorizing lines was my life, right? So because I memorized so many like social networking tips and tricks, going to events became a natural thing, right? Because as an actor, what's your job?
Perform.
To sell yourself, right? You need to sell yourself to get the next gig. Otherwise, you don't have another job waiting for you, right? So when you're on set, you have no idea whose next project is going to come from, right? So you're talking to everybody, you know? That's why I tell like a lot of young people, like, go do stand-up comedy, like go do improv, right? Like get that muscle memory going that teaches you how to speak on the spot, right? I meet people who have PhDs and they cannot get on stage to save their life, right? Because they're so deathly afraid of speaking in front of people, right? I would rather be on stage than be in the audience. Why? It's not just the fact that like I'm comfortable, it's what else?
The leverage or what comes with it.
Right, the leverage is now I've networked everyone in the room, they know who I am, I don't have to spend time talking to each individual. That saves me a ton of time, right? Versus, I'm gonna go and sit in the audience and now I gotta individually talk to people. This is why like, every like, around this time is when I'm already scheduling all my speaking stuff for next year. So I'm submitting everything to conferences, to festivals, to trade shows, getting my speaking schedule set up, right? Most people are not, they don't plan their life around that stuff, right? They think in terms of, I need to make money, right?
Did you have a virtual assistant help you with this? With the presentation?
Yes, I have partners.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, they'll go in, they'll do like a rough outline, but I've been teaching this for over like 2 years, so like, I have like hundreds of presentation templates to work with. And I'll pull things and I'll just kind of go through and have AI kind of update like, hey, what's not here anymore, what is here, what sites don't work anymore, so yeah.
Nice.
What was your favorite place to work in?
In terms of the city or in terms
Just
of?
for fun, like most personal joy, fulfillment, fun.
I would probably say if it's a job as a camp counselor,
Where?
Colorado. So when I lived in Colorado, I was a camp counselor, and before that I was in politics in DC. And my life was office meetings and Capitol Hill meetings and talking to senators and talking to congressmen and lobbyists, and I was in international politics and business, right? And my life was meetings and falling asleep and trying to remember who's who in the room and what titles they carried, and I told my boss, you know what, I'm gonna go to Colorado and take care of some boys and go hiking and eat good food and horseback riding and rifle range, and
Amen.
I'll see you later, peace out, you know?
Nice.
Amen.
And my boss was like, I wish I could go with you. That sounds awesome, right? So 2 weeks later, I was roasting marshmallows with boys, and we were telling camp stories, and the camp story that I told scared the hell out of them, so they were all scared to go to sleep. And ironically enough, that story turned into the play that they put on for the theater production, and that's the one they used, and it was an awesome summer. You know, you cannot beat an experience like that. So whenever I talk to like guys in college, are like, go do that, right? Most, they're not thinking about that, right? They're just thinking about a career. I said, no, when you're young, and you can never do that again, right? Hiking the Rocky Mountains, like so every week we have to hike like 2 or 3 Rocky Mountains, right? And it's dangerous, right? And you have like 8-year-old boys, 13-year-old boys, like 6-year-old boys. You make one mistake on that mountain, you're gone, right? You are gone. There's no guardrails, there's nothing up there.
The 14ers, right? The main ones.
It's hard, you know, because the one thing I tell the boys is you cannot rest and you cannot bend your knees. Because if you do that at that altitude, you will have serious cramps, you know. And those boys are like, but I'm so tired, I like, trust me, you don't want to sit down, you know, yeah. But the horseback riding, oh man, that was fun, yeah. But, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, what makes you be here in Austin, and how much time you spend here versus Nomad and elsewhere?
So I don't live here. I live in San Antonio right now. But I'm up in Austin quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
Just because like I lived here for a long time and I still have a life here, right?
Yeah.
So I travel between a lot of cities and depending on where I need to be. I try to make most of my time here though because so much is happening. I don't know if you saw that post that some crazy person happened to post this week about Austin, but it probably means more stuff is coming to Austin now. Right?
What, I don't know, that could have been a good couple things.
What
So,
post? I'm sorry. Or is it intentionally cryptic, but
So Mr. Musk decided to tell the world to come move to Austin.
I did not see
Oh,
that.
Lord, we don't need more muskies here.
I didn't see that.
And so
Wait.
basically his response to all that was just like, hey, if you're rich, if you're all this stuff, you know, move to Austin, that's where the action is, that's where things are. And I looked at that and I was like, we don't need this. Because right now Austin is already expensive enough to live in, and now it's gonna get worse if that happens, right? It's a great city to live in, as long as you know where to be, right? Most people don't know how to answer that question, right? It's hard, right, because I meet a lot of people who are struggling in the city, and I don't know what to tell them sometimes, right? Like, I can only give you so many resources until you have to take action, right? But having more millionaires here does not fix the problem. It does not, right? So, yeah.
I missed that.
And in case you also missed the other part that people didn't realize, I think I have it.
Wait, so what's his logic? Like, why does he want millionaires here? I'm sorry.
Because he says that it's more of a fertile ground to start a business here than it is in London, it is in Dubai, it is in Hong Kong. Because again, when you're that rich, the world is literally just a step away from everything, right? So his answer is like, come build here, and the reason why is because of the politics. Building a company here is super easy to do, you can get away with all kinds of stuff, and employees have no rights. Right, like when he came to build Tesla here, what did he tell the city? I'm gonna hire all these people, and I'm gonna give them all these jobs. And then what did he do 8 months later? Fired most of them.
Automated.
Right, and the city came back and said, you just told us you were gonna hire all these people. Oh, I didn't need them. I was like, but then you need to give back your tax breaks. Oh, no. That's okay. Right. So I don't know what to kind of deal with that, because I know it's gonna happen. Like there's people who read his stuff and they're just like, I gotta move to Austin. Right? But I meet a lot of 18-year-olds who move here because Austin's a cool place to be. Right? And then they get here and what happens?
Expensive?
It's expensive. It's very expensive, right? How much is the top unit at a condo on Rainy Street go for?
I don't know.
Anybody?
I would
I don't know
wager
about the
2,500.
A lot.
Starts at $3 million,
Oh,
right?
not rent, you're saying, oh, I got you.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and the problem with that is if you go to Airbnb and look at how many units are downtown that go for, that tells you how many people actually are just real estate investors. You know, so. Yeah, I mean, that's about what I know, but all I know is like coming here, like for me it's fun, like I know where to be, I know where to go, like I get invited to so much stuff. But like it depends on like what is your goal in terms of nomading. Is it to build your companies and then scale them as you grow or as you travel, right? That's kind of how you have to sit down and look at like, if I'm gonna go to football games, right? How many games do I need to go to per year to turn a profit,
Yeah.
right?
And which region do I need to be in? Like, that's why Nashville is a great region, because you can travel throughout. Obviously, Austin has Longhorns, but, you know, and it's relatively close to the SEC, but.
Right.
But yeah, I'm a mix of community, finding place I can grow, and then having fun and experiencing new things,
Right.
so.
Exactly. And that's why I say like sit down with AI and talk about like a life like plan in terms of like how would I structure my weeks, you know?
And then it's like, you know, different times of year, so I'm thinking like, oh, for the ski content, you know, that's where, you know, figuring out the different places, you know, how long to spend in them.
Sure.
So it's the balance.
But yeah, I mean everyone here has a tool that nobody had 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And you know, use it, because people are definitely making a lot of money, so.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, glad you came.
Yeah, here's
Motivational.
cool, and then
What is-
everyone's welcome. I'm gonna grab a beer after this, maybe some food, if anyone wants to continue the conversation.
For most of can't tonight.
Yeah, are you around here more? I've been hit with this sleepy, so I gotta get straight home.
Yeah, no
Hey, you
worries,
gotta,
but
you
yeah.
gotta start them.
I know, I've been in flux, so I haven't defined.
Can I give you mine, get in touch, maybe grab a coffee sometime?
Let's exchange LinkedIn's.
Okay, sure.
I need to get one of those QR codes. that-
Euro Bubba. Is my LinkedIn.
Thank you, Chris.
Sure, absolutely, I'm glad you came.
I'm in the process, I told you, of, I'm going back to Denver, got a house during COVID.
Yep.
Don't wanna be based there full-time,
Right.
so removing those roots.
There's so
We'll
many
probably
people
start
with
over
the
here.
name. Wait, company name, hold on. There we go.
Did you say you're just visiting, you don't live here
Yeah.
full-time?
Yeah, I leave on Monday.
Back to,
New Hampshire.
oh, nice, my old college roommate was from New Hampshire.
But I'll be in Colorado actually, really this winter as well as Utah.
Yeah, I spent the last 6 years in Denver, early December, picking up the roots.
There you go.
Moving them.
Yeah.
Chris will be spending at
Denver
least that
was
90 days in
as
Prague next year.
cool as
and
Boston.
that'd be a-
It's
With
good.
access.
So
You know, be a node in your
nodes are
network or in
right
the
there.
network
You
of
know,
people
it's
that
like
you're.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
you know, working
absolutely.
with over
3+
there.
hours
Yeah,
of
let me know if
traffic.
there's a way I
I
can
know.
connect you to anybody there.
Absolutely.
It's well,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
overblown, yeah.
Well, no, I know
Yeah,
lots of
and
people
the
that
city
are, I'm
itself
offering
is
to.
It's kind of like airport food.
I'll-
Yeah,
and
I
you
call it a
connect with me on
vanilla
LinkedIn,
base,
right?
and I'm pretty hard
yeah,
on it.
Okay, good, okay, perfect. Yeah, well, I appreciate you coming, and if you're gonna be around next
Yeah,
Sunday,
I'll
come out to
come
the next
around
one.
Monday,
Yeah,
but yeah, you got my
next Monday's
card,
not
shoot
gonna
me a
happen,
text
but,
or like find me on LinkedIn or
Sure.
something, man.
I
Yeah,
do
it's
this
good to meet
every
you.
month.
Hell yeah, dude, take
Okay,
care.
cool.
Have a good one.
Alright, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Awesome, yeah, great meeting you.
Yeah, good to meet you.
But yeah, add me on LinkedIn, you got my card,
Alright,
so,
will do.
hey, thank you so
Yeah,
much for
absolutely.
everything, yeah, I'll
Good
definitely be
night.
in touch, and you got my card as well, so.
Yes, I do.
And I've LinkedIn you, so.
Okay.
But yeah, no, this is, it's cool, I'm inspired by the, lifestyle,
Yes.
and so.
I mean, more people will like embrace it, right? You know,
Yeah.
And it's gonna happen for others who want to travel and explore things. I meet a lot of 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds who get the corporate job and they find out like it sucks.
That's what I was doing for 10 years, and then I was like, you know, had this whole goal of going remote so I could do this, and now my company
Right.
is very facilitative for it,
Good.
and they're like supportive, and there's people doing it,
Right.
so,
I would definitely say make the content along the way.
that's the biggest thing, and that's where I haven't been doing that.
Okay.
So I think a lot of it is just, yeah, just doing it. And I was just looking like Black Friday, like DJI has some deals on audio and, different things to like hold your phone,
Right.
and then I would probably hire a videographer, for certain events as well.
So I would definitely say if you're looking for an easier way to do things, go get a high school kid or a college student.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah,
And hire them, right? And go to a pawn shop and buy your equipment there. And as long as it's 4K or 1080p, because what is Mr. Beast shooting? Because remember, he can afford anything. What is
Yeah.
what is his resolution at?
1080,
Do you know why?
any advice or,
He says not everybody has fast internet,
yeah,
and he says I want to make sure my content is accessible to everyone. If it's
Yeah.
shot in 4K, people who don't have high-speed internet cannot watch my stuff.
yeah,
Right? And people don't pay attention to those things, and he does.
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
Um,
and I was just, when I was looking up, it's like, fast, like, content, it's not like video production they care about, it's like good, entertaining content
Mhm.
that's authentic,
Yep, that's right.
so,
And yeah, you can easily go to a pawn shop and negotiate a GoPro 12 for like $75.
yeah, and I have a GoPro, like an 11 or something.
Okay.
So I have that, and then obviously the phone's solid, but yeah, man, it's great meeting you, really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
thank
take
you so
care.
much. Yep.